Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, welcome back.
Today we are talking all about answer engine optimization,
AEO.
AEO. We've got a fantastic guide in front of us, actually.
Yeah, a really practical one.
It is a step-by-step kind of breakdown from the Digital Edge podcast.
Yeah, they did a whole series on it.
So we're going to kind of like dissect that, and hopefully you'll walk away knowing not just what it is, but also how to put it into practice.
Exactly. And, the search landscape, as we all know, it's changing all the time, right?
Constantly.
And it's not just about getting to that, page one ranking anymore.
Right.
It's more about becoming like the direct answer
Yeah.
that the search engines are going to serve up.
The featured snippet,
Exactly.
voice search AI assistants, all that.
So that's the key difference, right? Traditional SEO is about making your web page visible.
Right.
AEO is about making your content the answer.
Yes.
Like, think about that prime real estate of
Yeah.
a featured snippet.
Yeah.
You're right at the top.
Up at the top.
Or you get the single answer from a voice assistant or AI chatbots. Like, if you're not strategizing for those formats, you are missing out.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Huge amounts of traffic.
So, okay, it's clear why this matters. We're on board.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's dive into the how-to. Where do we even begin with optimizing for these direct answers?
Well, the Digital Edge podcast really stresses that the starting point is understanding what questions people are actually asking.
Okay.
Right? You can't give the right answer if you don't know the question.
Right, makes sense.
So they outline some really great ways to figure this out.
Yeah, like what?
Well, one of the first things they mentioned was the people also ask section on Google.
Oh, the PAA.
The PAA.
I'm always clicking those.
Oh, me too. Yeah. It's like, what is everyone else wondering about?
Yes.
So that's a fantastic window into related questions that Google has already identified.
Right.
Then you've got the autocomplete suggestions when you're typing.
Oh, yeah.
Those little predictive texts, those can be really insightful.
Yeah.
It shows you what's currently top of mind for searches.
So it's kind of like real-time feedback from Google.
Exactly.
And then beyond just Google, they also said to look at your own FAQ data.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Right.
Anything where your audience is interacting with you and asking questions?
Yeah, customer service logs.
That's a direct line to understanding their needs.
You're handing you the questions.
They are.
And for casting a wider net, they also talked about tools like Answer the Public.
Answer the Public.
Also asked.com.
Yeah, those are great.
I've dabbled in those a bit, and they can really visualize the network of questions.
They're really powerful tools. And then the next crucial step, the guy says, is to organize these questions by user intent.
Okay.
So what is the goal behind the search?
Okay.
Are they looking for a definition, a step-by-step process, a comparison?
Okay, so you group the questions together by what the user is actually trying to get at.
Exactly. Because someone asking what is AEO
Right.
has a very different intent than how do I implement AEO.
Totally.
So understanding the intent is key.
Okay, so we've got our arsenal of questions. We know what people are asking.
Right.
Now, how do we actually make our content the answer?
Okay, so this is where the structure and formatting come in.
Okay.
Search engines love clear and digestible information.
Right.
So the Digital Edge Guide really pushes the question and answer format.
So, you literally write out the question?
Yes.
And then the answer?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like they have this great example. They say, question, what is answer engine optimization? Answer. Answer engine optimization is the practice of optimizing content, so search engines can extract direct answers for featured snippets, voice search, and AI-powered tools.
Okay, so very clear, very direct.
Exactly. It gives the search engine what it wants.
I like it.
And then they also talked about using bullet points and numbered lists.
Yeah, why are those so important?
They're great for breaking information down into scannable chunks.
Okay.
So if you're outlining steps or key attributes, lists make it super easy to digest.
Right.
For both search engines and users.
So it's good for featured snippets and just readability.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about the length of these answers?
They recommend keeping the initial answer under 40-50 words.
Okay, so pretty short.
Yeah, concise, but then you can give more details in the surrounding content.
So it's like a really good headline.
Yeah, like a hook.
Okay, and they also emphasized using headers.
Yes, H2s and H3s.
What do those do?
So those act as signposts for search engines,
Okay.
showing them what each section is about.
Okay.
So by using relevant keywords in those headers,
Right.
you're helping the search engines understand the content
Makes sense.
and find the right answers.
So we've got our questions. We know how to structure the answers.
Yes.
We're using headers effectively. What's next?
So step 3 is all about structured data,
Okay.
specifically schema markup.
Okay, that sounds kind of technical.
It is a little bit.
Can we break it down?
Yeah, so Basically, you're giving extra information about your content in the code.
Okay.
It helps the search engines understand the context.
So it's like adding labels.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
And the Digital Edge Guide talked about a bunch of schema types that are really useful for AEO.
Like what?
Well, one is FAQ schema.
Right. For frequently asked questions.
Exactly. If you've got an FAQ page on your site,
Yeah.
you can use FAQ schema to tell Google that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then your content can show up as a rich result with those questions and answers.
So it's like taking up more space on that search results page.
Exactly.
Very cool. What else?
They also mention how-to schema,
Oh, yeah.
which is great for pages with step-by-step instructions.
Right. Makes sense.
And then article schema, which helps structure blog posts.
So it's all about giving those search engines more information.
Yes, more context.
Okay, so how do we actually implement schema markup?
They recommend using Google's Structured Data Markup Helper.
Okay.
It's a pretty user-friendly tool.
All right.
It walks you through creating the code.
And then we just add that to our website.
Yeah, and then the key is to test it.
Okay.
They say use Google's rich results test,
So,
just to make sure you've done it right.
so you can see if it's working.
Exactly.
So we've covered optimizing for text-based answers.
Yes.
Now, what about voice search?
Oh, voice search, that's step 4.
Right, because so many people are using voice assistants now.
All the time.
Yeah, it's so convenient.
It is.
So how do we optimize for that?
Well, the key is to remember that people speak differently than they type.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like when I'm talking to my voice assistant, I use full sentences and a more conversational tone.
Yeah, so it's not just about keywords anymore.
Right. It's about those longer, more natural phrases.
Long tail keyword.
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of targeting weight loss, you might target what's the best way to lose weight.
Okay, so really think about how people actually speak.
Exactly.
And then what about the way we structure the answers for voice search?
The guide recommends putting the answer right at the beginning
Okay,
in a clear, concise sentence.
got it.
And then you can provide more details later if the user wants them.
So give them the quick answer up front.
Exactly, because that's how voice assistants usually work.
They just give you that one sentence answer.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're thinking about the questions differently. We're structuring our content differently.
Mm-hmm.
What about building authority and trust?
Oh, that's so important for AEO.
It is. Why is that?
Because search engines want to give answers from reliable sources.
Right.
So if they're going to feature your content as the answer,
Yeah.
they need to know they can trust you.
Okay, so how do we build that trust?
Well, the guide has some great tips.
Like what?
Citing your sources,
Okay,
showing where your information comes from,
that makes sense.
and keeping your content up to date
Right, because information changes.
all the time.
So we want to make sure we're giving people the most accurate information.
Exactly. And they also suggest using expert contributors.
Oh, yeah, like bringing in recognized voices.
Exactly. That adds credibility.
Okay, and what about backlinks?
They said that's still really important.
Yeah, it shows that other websites trust you.
Exactly. It's like a vote of confidence.
Okay, so we've optimized our content, we've built trust and authority.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we know if it's working?
That's where measurement comes in.
Right, we have to track our progress.
Exactly.
So what do we need to be tracking?
Well, one of the key things is featured snippet wins.
So how do we know if we've got the featured snippet?
You can use Google Search Console.
Okay.
It has reports that show you which queries are triggering featured snippets.
Oh, cool.
And you can see if your content is showing up.
That's really useful.
Yeah. And then you can also track voice search traffic.
Can we really do that?
It can be a little tricky,
Okay.
but you could look in Google Analytics and Search Console for longer conversational queries.
So like the ones we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then they talked about click-through rate,
CTR.
CTR.
Why is that important?
Because even if you get the featured snippet,
Yeah.
you want people to actually click through to your website.
Right.
So you need to make sure your snippet is compelling.
Okay, so it's not enough to just be the answer.
Right. You have to entice people to learn more.
Okay. And what about time on page and bounce rate?
Those are really important too.
Okay.
They tell you if people are actually finding your content helpful.
Got it.
If someone clicks on your link and then immediately bounces back to the search results,
Yeah.
that means your content didn't satisfy their needs.
So we need to make sure our content is comprehensive and clear.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's all about optimizing, measuring, and then refining.
Yes, it's an ongoing process.
So to wrap things up, what would you say are the absolute must-dos for AEO?
Based on the Digital Edge Guide,
Mm-hmm.
I would say your checklist should include identifying those common questions,
Mm-hmm.
using tools like Google's PAA and keyword research,
Okay.
then structuring your content in a Q&A format,
Right.
making sure your answers are concise,
Got it.
using bullet points, lists, and headers.
To break things up.
Exactly. Then implementing schema markup.
Like FAQ schema, how-to schema, article schema.
Yes, all of those. And then optimizing for voice search, using natural language, and building authority by citing your sources and keeping your content fresh.
Okay.
And finally, monitoring your performance.
In Google Search Console.
Yes, keeping an eye on those featured snippets.
So it's really a holistic approach. It
It's
is
not-
not just one thing.
It's a whole strategy.
And I think what's really interesting is how much this is all tying into AI.
Oh, absolutely.
Like providing those direct answers is going to be even more important as AI becomes more integrated into search.
It's the future of search.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Think about your own area of expertise.
Yeah.
What are the questions people are always asking you? Can you anticipate those questions and become the go-to source for those answers?
In the age of AI.
Exactly. Not just in traditional search results, but in voice search and AI assistance.
That's the power of AEO.
It is. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Until next time, keep those questions coming.
And keep exploring
The digital world.
See ya.